What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Crypto Rush, and thanks for tuning in. Today, we are going to make a few analyses on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, and on the altcoin that I am holding through currently, and seeing where that may go, and seeing if my thesis have changed. Now, before we begin today, if you guys have not yet liked or subscribed to my channel, please do so, as I'll be coming out with daily instant analyses on Bitcoin, altcoins, and the top altcoins on my watch list. So you guys don't want to miss out on that, and I will be updating my videos every day, weekdays. Now, before I begin, just want to mention that I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, as these are purely my own speculations and opinions, and trading and investing in this market is extremely risky and volatile, so you should always do your own due diligence before taking any action in this market. Now, let's begin. We are going to take a look at Bitcoin first. And Bitcoin has not really been doing anything too interesting, but it has been running in this rising channel from the range of about this bottom trend line right here. So I was expecting that this swing would actually go completely up, but it got rejected somewhere around 12,100, which was quite a run up, but I was expecting to complete a full swing to the top trend line before coming back down to about 11 to be above 11.5k. But that was not the case. It got rejected yesterday, and it has came down prematurely before we even hit the top trend line for the swing, so it might take another try to actually get up to that top trend line, which could happen sometime in the next maybe 4 to 5 days, it seems like. So right now we are below the 21 daily moving average. But let's see what has actually caused that rejection. What caused that rejection was actually the 12k level, which we are seeing quite a bit of wicks around here on the daily. And I'm sure if we get down to the 12 hours, we're going to see a lot more wicks around here. So it's going to signal some pretty strong resistance at the 12k level. I was expecting that we were going to stay above the 11.5k level, but since it has came down quite starkly with this huge 12-hour candle, we're going to spend some time getting back above the 11.5k level. But I am still I am optimistic about the price action of Bitcoin actually staying and ranging in this rising channel, as we do have some support down here with the daily 50 moving average, which the price action has just got supported before it bounced back up into the channel. Now, what makes me optimistic about the price action and that there is more room to run for Bitcoin is that the RSI is not in overbought territory in a lot of the major time frames. So on the monthly, even though there is what seems like to be bearish divergence on the monthly time frame, as if you compare it back to May, June of 2019 and comparing to the new high that we have right now, there is bearish divergence. So that is something to keep an eye out for. But the fact that we are not in overbought territory in the major time frames, that gives me some optimism and some expectation that there is going to be another run up until we hit about 14k. That would be the next resistance level, and that is outside of our current rising channel. So we could break out of our rising channel. We could just range and then break out suddenly, or we could just range all the way up until 14k. So those are the two scenarios. If we do break this rising channel sharply and go up to 14k, I do expect a rejection on the first attempt at that resistance before trying again, before the price action tries again. Now on the daily, we are so on all the major time frames, we are seeing the RSI at pretty low levels, and that is the main indicator that I look at. The RSI is one of the confirming indicators I will look at before opening a position. And for, like I said, on most of the major time frames, even down to the hourly, we have a pretty low RSI level, so that signals some room to run, in addition to the rising channel that we have here. So two scenarios for the bullish case would be that if we just break through the rising channel and just go sharply up to 14K, we're going to see a rejection before probably seeing another attempt at that resistance, or we can just keep ranging until we hit 14K. Those are the two bullish scenarios. For the bearish scenario is that if we actually fall out of this rising channel, so it seems that we have already been supported by the 50 MA. I think the next level to watch out for if we actually fall below 11K would be, so one of them would be about 10,200 right here, which is the 12-hour 200 MA. The next, there's also another one that's slightly below the daily 50 MA, which is also the 6-hour 200 MA, which is currently at about 11,000. So those are the levels to watch for. Those are the scenarios that I'm predicting for Bitcoin. Of course, those are purely just my speculations and opinions. If you guys do have any ideas, comments, do put it in the comment section below. I would love to know any other insights. But those are the scenarios I am seeing. Now let's move on to Ethereum. On Ethereum, we had quite a bit of a run up for the past few days, so I was not surprised to see a rejection at the 490 level, close to the 500 level, and now we have bounced off the daily 21 moving average, and it looks like we still have a higher high and a higher low comparing to the last high and low. So that is a good sign that this trend could continue. Another indicator that tells me this uptrend could continue is also the RSI. So on the daily, we are seeing the RSI not in overbought levels, and even though and this high on the RSI from the last high could be beaten with the next high, so there may not be bearish divergence that could bring the next high down, if that makes sense. So if we were to make a new high above 490, chances are the RSI here could go above this previous high of 72. So any bearish divergence could be negated, and we do not have to worry about that in the near future. But let's take a look at some of the higher time frames. On the higher time frames, the monthly, we are still seeing the RSI at pretty low levels, not in overbought territory. On the weekly, though, it is in overbought territory, and there is bearish divergence, so we do want to watch out for that, as that could come down on you. But we're going to see what happens with if we do make a new high and how high that would be. But on the weekly, the RSI high to beat would be about 81, so that is a little bit high. So in the medium term, I would watch out for that. But on the daily, I think we could very likely be making a new high, and then after that new high, we'll see what the RSI is. We don't have I don't see any red flags on the daily, but on the weekly there is. So that is something to watch out for. Maybe after the next new high, I would be more cautious. But I will also be more cautious. I will still be cautious on the weekly right here too, because this is kind of a ticking time bomb to me. So this is something to be watching out for on the weekly. But on the daily, it's clear. On the RSI, on the 12-hour, there's actually a pretty big high on the RSI as well. So I think there is a possibility that a new high could be made, and then the scenario could be that a new high is made, but on the price action, but then on the RSI, there may be bearish divergence on the 12-hour, on the 6-hour, on the 4-hour, as the last high up on the RSI is already pretty up there, so it's gonna be pretty hard to beat. So it might actually take in 2 more highs to negate the bearish divergence on these time frames. And on the daily, that's beatable, but so there's gonna be a little bit of a contradicting signals, but I would definitely keep an eye out on the weekly and see where we end up here, because that could bring us to a price action drop, and also on the hourly, on the bigger hourly time frames as well. So my prediction is we're gonna take maybe 2 extra highs on the price action to actually continue higher without any bearish divergence. Now let's go on to Kyber, which is what I had been holding since yesterday. And the reason for that is I see before today, we had an inverse head and shoulders pattern showing on the Kyber network price action chart, and today now the price action has actually formed more of a ascending triangle, which is still a bullish pattern. So I do want to see how this plays out, and if we actually breaks out above 2.05, that would be a convincing confirmation that the price could break out and meet the target of this breakout, which would be about 2.8, which is massive. But we do want to see how the signs play out and how the price action plays out. But this is definitely a massive breakout if it does happen. You guys do you want to do your own research before if you guys do want to open a position on this, but not financial advice. Let me know if you have any ideas, agree, disagree, but I do have my eyes on this, and it does look like it can make a pretty big move if it breaks out. Now this comes to the conclusion of this episode today. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys